Joining us right now is Labour leader Chris Hipkins. Good morning.
Good morning, Ryan.
Bit going on, bit on. Where are you at with the education announcement yesterday? Phonics up,
Well,
must be a good thing.
the structured literacy project, which they were announcing some results from yesterday, was actually introduced under Labour. So yes, I think it's a good announcement. It's good to see progress. Be good to see teachers back in the classroom rather than on strike. And so I think maybe that should be Erica Stanford's #1 priority at the moment.
So just so we're clear, you're giving them absolutely no credit for this. This was all comes down to your change.
Oh, when you're in government, you get to claim the credit of stuff that's happening while you're in government, regardless of when it started. So fair enough, they want to do that, that's okay. I'm more interested in how kids are tracking with their learning. It's good to see that progress is being made.
When did you make the phonics change, and why did it take until term 1 of 2025 to kick in? Like, why are we seeing the numbers jump from term 1 to 3 2025?
Government hasn't been collecting that data previously, so this is something that the current government have decided that they're going to do. Previously, we were working on developing the structured literacy program. It was filling.
So you didn't introduce it.
That there was.
So hang on. So you've come on claim credit for something you never introduced and something you never measured.
Well, no, it was developed and introduced under Labour. It was not introduced in every school, though, and so the government.
How many schools
for doing that? Oh, I don't know. You'd have to ask Jan Tinetti that. She was the minister responsible for developing it in the first place.
Right. Can you at least be happy that for a long time students were going backwards and now we're seeing some positive results, not just in educational achievement, but also in attendance?
I think I already said that.
Let's move on. Government's changing the methane reduction targets. Some are saying this is, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Others have said it's actually quite reasonable. Will Labour support the change?
We want to see the advice that the government's based this decision on. It does feel like we're going backwards. They're working on a new standard which they've invented for themselves called no additional warming. That's not a standard any other country is working to. And we do need to tread very carefully here. Our international trade relies on us meeting our obligations under the Paris Agreement. If we're not going to meet those, potentially our farmers are going to find their incomes are going to go down because people aren't going to be buying what we have to sell.
Did you not read the report they released with it on methane?
Well, we want to see a bit more detail. The Climate Commission rejected the initial advice around this no additional warming target, as did the Parliamentary Commission of Environment.
All right. What's your message to farmers?
I want to see what they've got to say on that.
What's your message to farmers this morning? Because you've said to me previously you're reconsidering all of your climate policies, all that sort of stuff. They're the ones that are holding up our slow and stalling recovery at the moment. Thank you very much to the rural sector. And they want to know about the future and how secure that is and whether you guys are in agreement on this or not. You could turn around and revert to the old metric, to the old targets.
What farmers do want to know is that there's stability. We've offered that to the government. I've said to Christopher Luxon repeatedly, if you want to talk with Labour about forming a broad agreement that involves National and Labour to give farmers certainty, we're open for that conversation. And he's absolutely rejected that on multiple occasions. He's more interested in getting the support of New Zealand First and ACT than he is in getting broad cross-parliamentary support. We started this process with broad cross-parliamentary support. National voted in favour of the targets, which they're now changing. In order to change them, I think they should try and get broad cross-party support across Parliament for the changes that they're trying to make. But they're making no effort to do that.
Why did you why did you go backwards in the preferred Prime Minister rankings in that poll? I mean, I know Luxon's doing the same, but why do you think that's happening to you in particular?
I can understand why New Zealanders are feeling pretty disillusioned with politics in general at the moment. Things are going backwards, the cost of living is increasing, people are losing their jobs. It's pretty tough going out there. And when they tune into Parliament and tune into politics, they see politicians talking about a whole lot of issues that don't matter to them and not talking about the ones that do matter to them. So I think there's a bit of a warning sign for all of us in the most recent polling that people are getting a bit fed up with politicians talking about themselves, not talking about the issues that matter.
Debbie Ngāruapaka, speaking to RNZ's Mata program at the weekend, let me bring up what she had to say. Did you catch her interview, by the way?
I didn't see that interview, no.
At Awari. All right. So she says, we've had some really healthy discussions with Te Pāti Kākariki, the Green Party. We've met a few times with Labor and we've talked about our common ground. Clearly there's common ground in wealth tax. Clearly there's common ground in making sure no one is left behind. Do you have common ground with Te Pāti Māori on a wealth tax, Chris?
I think that's the first time I've heard that, and I don't recall even talking to them about a wealth tax. So, I'm not sure where that's coming from. I said last week or week before last even, Te Pāti Māori have got some issues that they need to sort out internally before they really should be focusing on other parties. I think they found an interesting way to do that in the last 24 hours. I'm not sure that's the way I would approach it, but they need to sort themselves out.
What are you referring to in the last 24 hours?
Well, the release of all the information that they've done in the last 24 hours, it's a novel way of sorting out your internal issues.
Problem is, Winston doesn't like you. He's not going to work with you. The people that you're talking about now are going to be your lifeline into power.
My message to New Zealanders is if you don't like this government and you want a stable, sensible alternative, then vote Labour. My job is to get Labour's vote as high as possible. And unlike Christopher Luxon, I'm not interested in the country being held to ransom by the smaller parties. Yes, we have to work together. There's compromise required, but that doesn't mean they should call all of the shots, which is what Christopher Luxon's letting them do, and I won't do that.
All right. So rule out. What are you willing to rule out then? Put your money where your mouth is. You won't do a wealth tax from Te Pāti Māori, which is what they've said you want. You won't do a separate parliament. You won't do a separate justice system. You won't cut funding to courts and to prisons by 50%. You'll agree with all of that?
Well, I think I've already said pretty much all of those except for the tax bit on your show when I was interviewed by you on this topic previously.
So what about the tax bit?
We're announcing our tax policy before the end of the year, and that will be our tax policy.
All right, very good. Hey, we just had Wayne Brown in the studio before. This is one last question before I have to go to Garth. Wayne Brown in the studio before, he was saying that Wellington needs to treat Auckland with more respect. It's a third of the population. He says bugger off with the rates cap because they need to operate the city rail link here. What is your view on a rates cap and whether it should apply to Auckland?
I congratulate Wayne Brown on his re-election. I understand the rates cap is popular with voters. Nobody wants to pay higher rates, but what the government aren't saying is how they are expecting councils to fund all the things they're expected to do if they cap the rates. So I think I have a lot of sympathy for what Wayne Brown has been saying, and I do think that Wellington needs a better relationship with Auckland. When the Auckland Super City was established, it did give Auckland more influence and more ability to control its own issues and its own affairs, and I think we do need to recognise that at central government level.